Unsyndicated presents Shep and Sean, featuring Matt Shepard and Sean Belegian.
How about the Red Hot Tigers? He's Matt Shepard. I'm Sean Belegian. Shep, seriously, they're 6-4. I was joking earlier today. I have a group of friends. We all have our text groups. I'm sure you do as well. And honest to goodness, I have to multiple times a day. I have to tell these guys, like seriously, the way you guys carry on, we're talking about the 27 Yankees. All right. Hey, they're 6-4. I like it. The division, I think water seems to be finding its level a little bit. I'm not detracting from it, okay? I'd rather it be 6-4 than 4-6, 3-7, et cetera, et cetera.
Sure. Same. I will detract from it a little bit. I don't think you can measure anything on 10 games. Not a damn thing. But what you can do is get an impression, and it's hard to argue that Casey Mize doesn't look good. It's hard to argue that Green and Torkelson look very comfortable. It's hard to argue that this team seems to have a better eye at the plate. They're drawing more walks. I'll continue to worry about the defense a little bit, and we'll see how some of the role players expand a little bit. Zach McKinstry off to a pretty good start. Andy Ibanez, good thing he hit a homer today. His OBP is under 30. His batting average is under 160. So, I've said this for a long time, and I'll say it probably for another at least 2 weeks, Sean, 2, maybe 3. Nothing's broken. Nothing is fixed. So it's hard for us to take it. I'm going to wait and see because everybody wants to come out with their opinion and rush to judgment. But I'm going to wait and see because I just don't know what they are just yet. And we haven't even seen this team healthy yet. But but you're right. I'd rather be 6-4 than 4-6. But I think, people got to relax a little bit. Okay. When it warms up a little bit, other teams are going to warm up too. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. You know what, Shep? I mean, the way that I look at it to kind of break it down is the 3 games against the Dodgers were kind of an outlier because it was the Dodgers, and the 3 games against the White Sox were kind of an outlier because, well, it was the White Sox. So how much do we put into it? You sit back and we go, Eric, hello. Tom, by the way, Shep, I don't know if you saw this former.
I did not.
Greg Millen passed away. The goaltender passed away. Just a crying shame. How's that?
Yeah, that's awful. I did not know that. So Tom's giving me some breaking news there. It's too bad.
Yeah. Just saw it a little bit ago. Greg Millen and played for the Wings for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
CBC, I think a lot of people grew up watching him as one of the commentators on CBC when CBC had great commentators.
When?
That's a story for a different day. But with that being said, it's too bad. Passed away. Gosh, what was it? Was he, Tom, correct me if I'm wrong. I just saw it. My goodness gracious. Was he 67, I think?
Okay.
Way too young. Too young.
Yeah, that's terrible news. So I hope there's a nice tribute to him along the way for sure.
Yeah. Casey Mize. I like Casey Mize. You and I were talking about this before the air. You know him infinitely better than I do. I had the opportunity, I think, to talk to him twice. One time, did a really long interview with him. Really liked the guy. Just seemed like a good guy. I don't care if he's a jerk. If he can pitch well, I'll take him on my team. And you know what, Shep? Honestly, the guy's pitching well. Talk about one of the early surprises.
Yeah, he looks really good. Who would have thought this team would be 6-4 and playing the way it is, and Tarek Skubal would be 0-2 and an ERA just below 6.
Right.
I mean, that's even though we both know that's a little skewed because they gave earned runs on the Cole Keith. I was going to say brain freeze, and I guess I just did. In his last start,
daily brain freeze. I mean, we're seeing it almost every day. We saw it again today, but go on.
I know. I mean, see that, but that's what I'm referring to about the defense. There's some concerns there. Look, Casey Mize, all the people who say I wouldn't have taken him number 1 coming out of Auburn, Anytime somebody tells me that he's a bust and I wouldn't have taken him number one, and I said, okay, it's hard to argue that he's been disappointing. Tell me who you would have taken instead, and nobody can tell me.
Yeah.
That's my frustration. Like in football, Sean, we know who we would have taken instead of Joey Harrington, for example.
Right. Right.
But it's hard to argue with somebody when they can't even give you who they would have taken instead of Spencer Torkelson, since there's really only one other name that you could possibly have thought going number one, and that was Austin Martin out of Vanderbilt, and he ended up going like fifth. I remember talking on DFN because I do like college baseball. I'm a little bit of geeky in that regard. I liked Alec Boehm out of Wichita State instead of Casey Mize. But Casey Mize, a lot of people applauded the pick. Okay, you can't go wrong with a lot of pitching. His numbers at Auburn were ridiculous from a strikeout to walk ratio. He's walked more in the majors than I ever thought he would. And I think he had 3 more today. Maybe it was 4, but I think it was 3 more today. But you get through 6 innings, you give that bullpen a chance. And, his splitter is really, really good right now, Sean. That's been a big key. He's reaching 95, 96 with placement. I don't care how fast a guy throws, as long as he's placing it where he should. And I think it's been really impressive so far, what he's done, and especially against a really good Yankees lineup. So kudos to him. He went out and he beat Carlos Rodon. Good job, man. Take it.
Eric said, let's hear it, rip on the Yanks, do it, rip them. I'm not going to do that. It's a game. If they go and win the next 2 games, they took the series. You're too early in the season to have those types of season. Alan said, how's Casey Mize doing? He's doing very, very well. Shep, you stumbled onto something, and this gives me a golden opportunity to be snobby. I don't like to be
snobby, Sean. I like snobby.
I don't like to be snobby very often, but occasionally I like to be snobby, and more often than not, it's with the game of hockey. I could not agree with you more about your assessment. You can complain about the fact that, okay, this is the guy that we picked number 1 overall. You're well within your rights to do that. And I'm sure you would agree with that. Okay.
Yes.
But don't sit there and pretend like you knew. Like, honestly, we could sit here for the next 5 hours, and there is no possible way somebody, without looking this up, could tell me who the next 5 picks in the draft were.
Right.
No way.
Right.
No possible way.
Right.
By the way, something called Joey Bart.
Yeah, Joey Bart out of Georgia Tech. Really good catcher.
Alec Boehm?
Alec
Okay.
Boehm out in Philadelphia, the third baseman out of Wichita State. That's the guy I wanted. Yeah.
Madrigal, India, Jared Kalenic, who obviously it hasn't worked out so well for him. Ryan Weathers, et cetera, et cetera. And the reason I bring that up is at least, unless you're Matt Shepard, who really does like do a deep dive in this shit, you don't know. And so that's why I get like that with the NHL draft, Shep.
Sure.
I had the fortune of seeing so many of these guys from the time they were 16 years old. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I'm playing the role of a scout, but you know what? I have a pretty good grasp on a lot of these guys, because some of these guys I saw, I'll use Quinn Hughes as an example. I saw Quinn Hughes 40 times.
Yeah.
2 years running.
You know how good he was going to be. Look, I'll be honest. I thought Nick Madrigal would be a good hitter. Never thought he'd hit for power. He's a little guy, but at Oregon State, he was one of the best hitters in the country. Jared Kalenic he came out of high school, so that's a little different story. Joey Bart, as I mentioned, a really good catcher. He hasn't worked out. Baseball and hockey are such crapshoots.
Yep.
It is so hard because you're drafting guys in hockey at 18. How do you project?
Yep.
Right? And the same thing in baseball. You're either drafting them out of high school or you're drafting them 3 years out of college. And it is such a difference going from the collegiate game to AA, AAA, and then, of course, the major leagues is a completely different level. So it's so damn hard. I'm happy for guys like Casey Mize and Spencer Torkelson for a couple of reasons, Sean. Not just because they're good guys, and I like them. I do. I like them as individuals. But I think what's really hard in sports is to combat the negative in your own mind and the social aspect of it. So many people you were talking to in your group chats, I know it. I'm done with Torkelson. I'm done with Mize, okay? I found the first one a little ridiculous. You're going to judge him based on last year instead of the year before. He got rushed up, as we know. This is his fourth year. You want to give up on a 25-year-old? Be my guest. If he comes back to haunt you, shame on you. Remember, it's not your job that's been on the line. It takes some adjustment, but more importantly, Sean, it's humbling. It's humbling when you are sent down. Matt Manning has been humbled. Jason Foley's been humbled. Max Scherzer was humbled. Spencer Torkelson going down last year. It's not like he tore up Toledo, okay? It was hard. And when your management comes to you in the offseason and says, we're taking a kid who we've got a long-term contract with, and we're moving him to your position, you're going to have to earn it. A lot of people crumble at that, Sean. They do. I mean, they cave on a 6-foot par putt for a $5 bet.
Yep.
So they let that get to him. He didn't. He went out and he earned his spot, and he's been really good. And the same thing with Casey Mize. Casey Mize was not given the starting role, was he? He had to earn it. He had to beat out other guys for that role, and he did it. So I'm really happy for him because it shows how tough they can be mentally more than anything else.
I will be the first person to say I was very harsh on Torque just a couple months ago when he came out and said, I don't need all these bells and whistles. I've been playing this game for my whole lifetime. And Shep, I openly admitted, I said, maybe that's not the right thing to say right now. But obviously he knew something that we didn't. And you have to be man enough to tip the cap and say, hey, kid, so far so good. Good for you, man.
Well, I think what's been part of the problem with him in the past is the paralysis by analysis.
Right.
Because there is so much to think about in baseball and really in sports, if you think about it, Sean, right? I mean, where are my hands? Am I opening up too soon? What ball am I getting? Am I going to spit on it? Am I looking for this and this count? Your mind can screw you up big time. I gave him a lot of credit. I thought it was great. It's like, you know what? I am so tired. I mean, if you and I get tired of talking about analytics, Sean, imagine how the players feel.
Oh,
It's not like he's not listening to Michael Bradar and the hitting coaches in the hitter room meeting. Okay, they absolutely are. But he doesn't want to get his head clouded with a bunch of different scenarios that he's going to be overthinking it. I think that's, good for him. At least he had the guts to say, you know what? I don't need that stuff. You know what I need to do? Dig in the box and be myself.
Yep.
And sometimes that's the best thing to do, don't you think?
Yep. Shep, I call myself out. You and I had that discussion last month.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that I thought of. Torque, sometimes it's better just to keep your mouth shut and say, yeah, man, I'm willing to do anything I want. And instead, you know what? He shot straight and I'll figure this out. And you know what? So far, so good.
Listen, Sean, this team is only going to go as far as its young major leaguers take them.
Right.
Riley Green, when Parker Meadows comes back, Matt Vierling, Spencer Torkelson, Colt Keith, Kerry Carpenter. Those guys have got to – this team will be really good if those guys are really good. If those guys aren't very good, there's going to be a problem, okay? What Casey Mize did to that Yankees team is pretty damn good. They were second. I think they were tied for first or second in the league in runs scored. I think the Cubs have scored more. But I think they were right there, like 76, 77 runs. And he held them to 1 run over 6 innings. And the Tigers as a team held them to 2 runs. That's pretty damn good. But if you can get those other guys performing and using power, and when I say power, it's not always home runs.
Sure.
Look at how good Riley Green has been. If you can get that stuff, then this team's going to be pretty damn good. But it's going to they're going to rely on those guys.
Got to do a couple reads. Let me take care of our friends with Legacy Partners. Did you know that thousands of Metro Detroiters have already called Legacy Partners to get help with their home and auto insurance? Why haven't you? Our friends at Legacy Partners are one of Southeast Michigan's top independent insurance agents. They provide a full-service, one-stop solution for all of your insurance needs, personal and business, large and small. Legacy has helped our listeners by fixing mistakes other agents have made, asking the right questions to get the right coverage put in place to properly protect you, and help save you some money at the same time. Chances are, like my family, if you haven't checked your policies in the last year, you're probably paying too much and you could be underinsured. What are you waiting for? Give Legacy a chance to help with your home, your cars, life insurance, Medicare enrollment, or your business insurance needs, call them today, 586-209-4106, or visit legacypartnersins.com to get started with your new quotes. Let me go up there. A couple comments that I know Corey had a good comment. Hello, guys. Hello, Corey. How can it be that Ryan Kreidler is the option for the Tigers in the outfield? The MLB is not where someone should learn the position. Shep, a lot of times you and I were talking about this before the show. We're talking necessity right now with the Tigers. I mean, you had to call up Henry Malloy. You had to try Baez out there. Unfortunately, there's a necessity kind of going on right now with a lot of the injuries to the Tigers.
Yeah, they could have argued that Manuel Margot should be out there instead of Kreidler. Look, first of all, he's athletic. So he moves really well. This is not Andy Paez in Los Angeles where he's misreading things. All right. He made a hell of a catch opening day, I think. I think he's looked very natural out there. It's not like I'd necessarily want him there every day. I'm not saying he's going to make you forget Parker Meadows or Riley Green. But I think he's looked okay. And I think what they do is, and by the way, he's not learning at the major league level. He's been doing this in spring training, and he did it last year too. So it's not just this is the first time. But I think we'll all have a little bit of a sigh of relief when Parker Meadows comes back, because he just makes it look so effortless. I think Ryan Kreidler happens to be the best fielding shortstop on this team. I think he's one of the better infielders the entire organization has. But you're right. There's no room for him on the infield. So where can you put an athletic guy? You put him in center field, and he's adjusted, I think, pretty well.
Alan, I'll be there on Sunday the 27th for my birthday. Happy early birthday. I hope we can beat the Orioles. I'll be there next Wednesday in Milwaukee, Shep. I'm taking Jack to Milwaukee next Wednesday, and then the next day against Kansas City at home. So we're looking forward to that. Olivia James said hello. Is it me you're looking for, Olivia? Tom said, how about Fat Ovi breaking Gretzky's record? It is, Shep, that's a great segue. That's my favorite picture. Can you put up Fat Ovi again, Todd, please? Just in case Shep needs to be reminded about Fat Ovi.
Oh, I saw it. I saw it yesterday.
Are you ready? That is a man that's living life. God bless him.
He was sucking on a beer when he tied it. He was sucking on a beer when he beat it.
God bless him, right? You know there's probably 7 like beef short ribs on a smoker within 10 feet. He's probably got little smokies like in the cooler. Oh, God bless him. That's right, Ovi. You live your best life.
I was thinking cheeseburger, but if you want to go there, go right ahead. That's probably the same thing. Yeah.
It's always funny. Guys our age can remember things like this. I remember vividly where I was when Gretzky beat Howe's record. I was at the Wooden Nickel. It was March of '94, and it was really weird. It was a really busy night, and there were a bunch of hockey fans in there that kind of shushed everybody. And when the goal happened, the place erupted. It was like I remember it plain as day, and I remember watching it then and saying to myself, "Nobody's ever going to do that." And here we are, 31 years later, a little over 31 years later, and somebody did it. Phenomenal.
And Sean, the same number of games.
Incredible.
Great. The Gretzky for 894 is what it took Ovechkin. I still think I'll go back to what you and I were talking about, I think last week or the week before, and that is the fact that dude broke his leg, came back, and went on a tear, scoring 14 games in 22 or scoring 14 goals in 22 games, and now having 42, the fourth most in the NHL at the age of 39. I know somebody, I thought it was a little hokey when all the different people were congratulating him, from Michael Phelps to LeBron James, and you got Danny DeVito, and it's like, I don't understand this, right? And you know this. I mean, they're all taped. It's taped a long time ago. It might be taped even before the year, right? When they pull that stuff out. But it's nice that hockey got the attention it finally deserved. I thought incredible class on the part of Gretzky. Doesn't surprise me, right? Wearing Gordie Howe's, the lapel pin, I thought was super classy. And what a difference in the celebration of the team when Ovechkin breaks Gretzky's record compared to a guy who broke another record in a different sport a year ago. Massive difference. It shows you how much Ovechkin was well loved.
Yeah.
Right?
No
Yeah.
doubt. You know what's interesting, Shep, and Corey brought it up. I thought it was classy of Gretzky to have the number 9
Yeah.
in honor of Gordie Howe. I remember Gordie being there in
Mhm.
'89 when he passed his point total, and then being there again in '94 when he passed the goal total. The one thing that I can tell you about Wayne Gretzky, and this is not from public knowledge, this is from people that are very close to him and have known him for a long time. They said there is nobody, and I mean nobody, that understands his place and the importance of doing the right thing like Wayne
Yeah.
Gretzky. And it shows. I'm with
Oh,
you.
I believe that.
At every turn, that guy, and I don't want to make it sound like somebody was insinuating that it was fake. In his mind, he
Not.
really has an obligation to the game. Like that,
Yes.
like what he says is really the way he feels, and he's very careful in all the things that he's done, and he's very, calculating in regards to like that. And I don't mean that in a negative way.
No, I know you don't. And you're 100% right. Look, I remember, was it over the weekend? Was it when Ovechkin tied him in Chicago or against Chicago, and Gretzky said, "Look, you know, uh, he basically said, I understand what hockey has given me. It's giving me everything. It's giving me my family. It's giving me my take care of my family. It's giving me my friends. He owes it all to the NHL, the National Hockey League, and the sport in general, because he was a hell of an athlete, really was. So I think he takes it seriously. The one thing I've always said about Wayne Gretzky, and you and I have both been very fortunate, I've had a chance to interview him a number of times, more in skirmishes than anything else.
Exactly.
But still right there in front, and recognizing the thing that I noticed is whether he had a 3-point night or was a -3 with no points, he knew everybody was there to talk to him,
Yep.
whether he scored the game-winning goal or didn't score at all. And you can say what you want about him. Michael Jordan was the same way. I may not like him, but I'll tell you, he faced the reporters every single time because he knew that was part of the job.
Eric, I agree with you. I can't stand arguing about different eras. I can't. It drives me out of my mind. Okay. No, seriously, it's terrible. I had the opportunity to see them both. Blah blah blah. I will tell you with no hesitation that Alexander Ovechkin is up there with any pure goaler I've seen. Seriously. And that includes Mike Bossy. If you're talking pure goal scorer, okay?
Yeah.
There was the couple of years where Hull and Oates were the big thing, and I mean that was insane. It really was. It was the facilitator and the scorer. It was a perfect fit, and you saw it like that. But I'm going to tell you what, he's up there with Bossy, and Bossy is a guy for the younger generation. He's on a pedestal for a lot of us. Mike Bossy could score goals, okay? You are just not ever going to convince me that there was a better hockey player than Wayne Gretzky. It's never going to happen. And I love Mario. Mario is the case.
That's different for you. You and I used to battle it out at DFN. You were always the Lemieux fan. I would say this, if you don't mind.
Study in what might have been. That's Mario. Okay. He's predicated on what might have been.
Then that's fair enough. Yeah. I don't think there's ever been a better offensive player than Wayne Gretzky.
No question.
I think Ovechkin has proven that he's the best goal scorer. That doesn't mean he's the best offensive player. Like people are saying, you're still trying to convince me that Ovechkin's better than Crosby. Sidney Crosby's a complete hockey player.
I'll take Crosby 10 times out of 10.
So would I. He's 200 feet. He's offense, defense, facilitator, and goal scorer. Not as, obviously prolific of a goal scorer as Alexander Ovechkin. And this is not a knock on Alexander Ovechkin, but there's a lot of great basketball players, NBA players, who are great offensively, but they don't do anything defensively. Hi, Luka Doncic, right? That's so you have a specialty. I don't think anyone's going to confuse Alexander Ovechkin with Sidney Crosby in that regard. That's all.
When the Lord made the perfect hockey player, he made Mario Lemieux. I will say that until my dying day.
More so than Bobby Orr?
Yes, because I'll tell you why. I mean, other than health, of course. Unfortunately, he had the bad back and he battled leukemia. It was the reach. It was the touch. It was the stride. It was everything. It was everything. He had everything. It was. Sometimes, you go down that YouTube rabbit hole. Yeah. I love watching Mario highlights because half the time you just start laughing because unlike Pavel Datsyuk, here's a guy who's 6'4" and 220 fucking pounds. Pardon me. I'm sorry.
Pavel Datsuk's not good.
Right. You know that was taken out of context. I lived there for 15 goddamn years, Marty Martin. But like honestly, it was one of the. Do you know how that started? You know the truth. We were arguing over who was the Conn Smythe Trophy winner, and I said Chris Osgood, and then I said, but if anybody was going to win it, I said if you're talking about a forward, it was Hank Zetterberg. Chris should have won it that year. He should have. I don't care what anybody says.
I agree.
He should have won it that year. But if you were going to give it to a forward, then it turned into, well, why do you hate Pavel Datsyuk? And I said, I'm not saying that Pavel Datsuk's not good. Hi, magic editor on the radio. And then it turns into Pavel Datsuk's not good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, I mean, honestly, Mario, to be that big and to do what he did. And
so who's the closest guy, Sean?
To Mario?
Well, to any of that ilk. I mean, is there? I hate this, but I'll say it anyway. Is there anybody who can do what Ovechkin just did? Because we didn't think Gretzky would be. Is it Austin Matthews? Is it Connor McDavid? Is it Leon Draisaitl?
If Austin Matthews can stay healthy and have the longevity, I think he's the closest to. If you're talking about goal scoring,
yeah.
Give me Connor McDavid every single day, every single day over Austin Matthews. But if you're talking about goal scoring,
I'd take Nathan McKinnon over anybody but Connor McDavid. I
would put that heat. They just when those guys turn on their heat, it looks fake. It just really does. But
he looks like he's got like some type of firecracker in his ass.
Oh, it's incredible. In honest to goodness, in terms of just goal scoring, though, it's Austin Matthews.
Yeah, okay.
It's Austin Matthews. It's Austin. Matt said Jar. Yeah, I'm sorry. Ovechkin, best sniper. Gretzky, best playmaker. Larry Robinson, best birthday surprise. Isn't that the list, Sean? Larry Robinson, I will say this. Nick Lidstrom was the best defender I've ever seen. If you wanted a complete defenseman, you wanted Larry Robinson, and I'll die saying that because he'd beat the shit out of you too.
Yeah,
that's the reality. I mean, he didn't do it often, and the famous quote from Mark Messier is "Don't wake up 19." Like that's what a great quote. What a great quote. Just let him be. Just leave him alone. How do we get bigger on the blue line? We'll get into the natty in just a second. We need to get into the wings. I have to tell Shep how I got this black eye as well. I had a disagreement with a wing fan. He thought that Mo Sider was better than Lane Hudson. We came to punches. That's the way it happened. Hey, did you know?
The other guy looked like.
Yeah, well, look at my knuckles. Okay, they're a little swollen right now, so we'll leave it at that. Hey, if you're ready to take charge of your financial future, look no further than the Wealth Advantage Group, located in historic downtown Northville and owned by those two guys right there. The guy on the right, Jeff Husak, we were having like exquisite hockey talk on Saturday night. It was wonderful. They have 20 years of industry experience. They understand that your financial goals are as unique as you are. And that's why they offer personalized expert guidance to help you navigate the complexities of financial planning. Now, whether you're saving for retirement, getting ready to sell your company, already in retirement, doesn't matter. These are guys that can help you through every step of your financial journey. They work with clients throughout all stages of life. They have clients in over 20 different states. Look, the investment world is a complex one. So if you're ready to start taking your finances more seriously, it might be time to work with the experts. Reach out to my friends at the Wealth Advantage Group at 248-773-8574 or check out their website at www.thewealthadv.com. Shep, wouldn't you know it, tomorrow night, the biggest game of the year, it's really this simple. If Montreal wins, you're talking about an 8-point lead with 5 games to go. It's not happening.
But it's not just an 8-point lead. It's a team that's playing really well. They've won 5 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a team that is, I think sometimes the confidence thing, but I mean, it's kind of real right now with them. Detroit's won 3 of 4. That's great. But even when you have players saying our season is on the line, you would expect them to come out and play a very desperate style of hockey.
Yep. That's exactly it. And Shep, we're at that point right now where, again, the Habs, it's 8 points with 5 games to go. Good night. Even a win in overtime by the Wings, that makes it very difficult because now you're talking about a 5-point lead with 5 games to go. Shep, if they win, then all of a sudden it's a 4-point lead. You have an.
Why do you hate Dylan Larkin? Is the question.
Well, it's a very good question. Well, you know what? Are we allowed to talk about this? Don't tell anybody. Shh. He's been awful since Four Nations. Shh, don't tell anybody.
He's been well. I think he started out okay. The first few games he was good then, but he has fallen off massively since.
Yes, it hasn't been pretty. Shep, it's kind of funny. Are they quote unquote in it even with a win? No, it's still going to be an arduous task, no doubt about it. But with that being said, they have to get 2 points tomorrow in Montreal, and they have to do it in regulation, as far as I'm concerned.
I don't disagree with you. I think it's really too bad they put themselves in this spot, but they did it a year ago, and they've done it again this year. And they've forced themselves into this situation. It's so frustrating for me to know that they were in a really good spot. You and I were talking about it, and you said, they got some tough games coming up. And then the first couple games, they were pretty damn good. And I think I texted you, but after that, it has been one big fall off. And you need your best players to rise to the occasion at this time of the year. And I don't think they have been able to do that.
There are really nice signs moving forward. I'm going to say it again. I didn't expect it this year. Point blank, I didn't expect it. And I know what people are saying and everything. I think the emergence of Casper has been incredible. I mean, I think he's looked really good, Shep. I don't know if you felt the same way.
Yeah, I do.
I like that.
Edmondson looks really good.
Yes.
I like that. I like Albert Johansson.
Maybe Soderblom isn't the part that I thought he was. Like, honestly, I think he's looked better than I expected. I thought he'd just be a part. Nice. Yeah. You want a guy with a reach like that,
Yeah, that's fine. I think Albert Johansson's been pretty damn good too. I've been impressed with him. I still don't see a superstar in the making anywhere, and that's, I think, part of the problem. That a lot of people have with this team right now on this franchise.
It's interesting, Shep, because I said it at the beginning of the year, and I think this is one time that I can say I've been proven right. The problem, part of the problem with the Red Wings right now, is there are 2 teams in their division. Their very division, the Atlantic Division, who are in the same spot that they are in terms of a rebuild, that are ahead of the Red Wings right now.
Yeah, right.
And I don't think anybody could argue that anymore. Montreal right now, I mean, you got to remember, this is a team that was in the Stanley Cup Finals 4 years ago. They're loaded. And Lane Hudson might be one of the best defensemen in the league. Forget rookie defensemen. I mean, he is just fun to watch. And he's only a couple assists away from breaking your buddy, Larry Murphy's record for most assists by a rookie.
Caulfield's really good too. Yeah.
Oh, Nick Suzuki's been unbelievable. I mean, it really, so it's kind of fun. Lay off the booze, Sean, monkey bars again. That's what I should have lied. I told the truth. I ran into monkey bars and smashed my face. That's what I get for telling the truth, Shep. Remember that? My face, I was the elephant man.
Remember, Sean, even if it's a lie, if you believe it, it's really not a lie.
Right.
That's a George Costanza line. Just remember that.
Duke cost me $300 in my bracket pool. One more reason to hate them. What an epic collapse the other night.
Yeah, why is it so many people hate Duke? So here's the question I asked this morning. I think people are giddy of it, and they're like, they always win. Okay. You don't like that they're a blue blood. Then Michigan football and Michigan State basketball have no leg to stand on when it comes to that stuff. If another fan base said that about those 2 teams because they win a lot, then you'd be pissed off and say you're just jealous. And that's the same thing with Duke. I mean, I respect the hell out of them. It's not like I was a big Mike Krzyzewski fan, okay? But they've had some of the greatest players to play college basketball. They've given us some of the greatest moments as well. I like Cooper Flagg a lot. I like the Knippel kid a lot. I think John Shire, the way he handled himself afterwards and the way he handles himself during the season, is the kind of coach you would like having coached your team. So I'd love to know besides just the name Duke and the reference to Christian Laettner and some of that other stuff, tell me why people get so much enjoyment about seeing them lose.
I'm going to tell you.
You'd rather have Calvin Sampson advance? That seems
No, you said it. It was Mike Krzyzewski for me. It
Okay.
was Mike Krzyzewski reminded me of a used car salesman. I'm not going to lie. He really did. And Shep, in our business, you hear some things. The one thing that I've learned is half the things you hear aren't true. But you hear enough things. I was just never a big Krzyzewski guy. As Todd pointed out,
and that's fine. But I'm just saying there are people around the country who could say the same thing. Not the used car salesman aspect. The same thing about coaches who we like and really respect in our state.
Sure.
So Todd writes, but Duke got rubbed in our face because of Dickie V for so long. Dickie V rubbed it in your face about John Calipari and Rick Pitino and Bill Self and Jim Boeheim, all those guys. It wasn't just Duke.
Like they were always at Cameron, though. Like there was a span. It just seemed like they were always at Cameron, and I think
John, they're always. Guess what? Yep. They're always in certain sports. Where are they? They're always at Yankee Stadium. They're always at Fenway Park. National TV had the Lions on a lot last year. Mm-hmm. So let's just pump the brakes and try to turn that around and see if we would like it if it was pointed our way a little bit. I don't know. I mean, it's like I said, I did a couple of games at Duke. And when I was calling games, one of my pregame segments, besides John Beilein, was also the visiting head coach. And Duke was one of just a handful of teams who said, Mike Krzyzewski won't do it with it. We'll give you an assistant coach. And my response to them, because they're acting like they're Duke. So my response was, well, we're Michigan, so forget it. So Krzyzewski did that to me. Bobby Knight did that to me. Thad Matta did that to me. And I think Bill Self did that to me.
Thad Matta did that?
Yeah, at Ohio State. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those four guys, but Roy Williams had no problem doing it.
Okay, right? Just take Coach K, Bobby Knight, Bill Self, Thad Matta. Oh.
Right.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay, but we'll give you an assistant. No thanks. So it's not like I'm a huge Duke fan. I'm not. I think it's a really cool arena. I just find it very sometimes borderline hypocritical. Or like, well, it's always the national. Look, the national media is with all these different places, right? With that, whoever's good. They're at North Carolina a lot. They're at Kentucky a lot. They were at Louisville a lot. They're at UConn a lot. But for some reason, we just don't have that same ire towards Calipari, Pitino, Jim Boeheim, Jim Calhoun, or some of the other places.
I went to the Final Four. All the years run together now. 2022, it was down in New Orleans. I saw Jim Calhoun. I think it was like a year or two after he retired. What a cranky old man. You should have seen, like, honestly, when you think of old man yelling at clouds, it was Jim Calhoun. Like Shep, he was like 10 feet away from Radio Row, and he was bitching about everything. And I wanted to turn on the mic just to catch some of it. Like some of the stuff he was saying was so far-fetched. It was like, nobody's going to believe this shit. Like, what kind of water? What is the sun? He's complaining about the water that they have. Like, just crazy shit. It was like, dude, come on.
And then that famous rant about how much he makes and what he brings into the school, and just doesn't necessarily handle it the way many people would. You would expect a head coach of a storied program to handle. Right. Eric says, "Houston, let's go."
I picked Florida at the beginning, so come on. I picked Florida at the beginning.
Good for you, man.
I'm talking about. I openly admit it. I just picked Florida.
That's really good. The thing about it is, Houston's not a fun team to watch. Okay, if you're into offense, you can respect the defense. I get it. Defense wins championships, all that stuff. But don't tell me that, this is a lot of fun to watch. And I don't think you have to score a lot to be fun. You know that. You can have really good hockey games. You can have really good baseball games that are low scoring. You can have football games that are low scoring and be really good. But they slow it down and they get to the point where you're just like, oh, my God, come on. Can somebody please score a basket, for crying out loud?
Eric said in my bracket pool, I'm tied with 131 along with another guy. If Florida wins, he gets 32 points. If Houston wins, no one gets anything. We end up in a first place tie. Shep, it's funny. You always have to do the total points.
Mm-hmm.
And I picked like 168 at the beginning. I picked Florida. I think it was over Tennessee with 168.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Houston advanced, I just went like this. I ripped it up. I just said, that's that. Thanks for playing.
Good job, Nancy.
There are like 3 other guys that have like 140, 150. I'm like, nah, if it's an SEC matchup, they might run and go. As soon as I saw Houston, son of a bitch, just rip it up. We're done for the night. Thanks. Hey, when it comes time to getting yourself a house, whether you are buying, selling, or both, you need to contact the right agent. Who do we recommend? Well, her name is Lindsay Broadwell. Right there. Your house is probably the biggest investment you'll ever make, and that's why you need a pro. Lindsay grew up on the mean streets of Northville. She's expanded her team all over Southeast Michigan. She's an expert in all facets of the business. When it's time to move, our friend Lindsay and her team will make sure you get the most out of your house and everything goes smoothly when finding your new home. Buyer, seller, even first-time buyer, it doesn't matter. Make sure you contact Lindsay at BroadwellHomes.com. She'll help you with everything from start to close. Licensed realtor at Real Broker LLC. Start your search today at BroadwellHomes.com. I have a random comment that I wanted to bring up to you, Shep, in the waning moments of this show, okay? Are people aware that the NFL draft, and I'm serious when I say this, the NFL draft is only 17 days away?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
It's really weird.
It's fallen off our radar because of how good the Lions have been.
Yes.
Although I will admit, I did peek at 2 3-round drafts today and a 5-round draft today. It's the first time I've looked. Like you used to be a walking in. I remember when we used to do a draft show at the radio station, there was a 3-ring binder, folks. I'm not kidding you. It's like, it was like this thick, seriously. Mm-hmm. And then we just left it on the table and everybody could read through it. Right. And it seemed like you memorized that entire thing.
You had to. We were on for 7 hours. Do you remember we would do those 7-hour marathons?
Yeah. Yeah. So all that thing and I'm thinking about today's the first time I've really looked at it. We can look at needs all you want, but are you really going to be able to name the defensive end in the second round that you think Detroit's going to really go after since they went for an inside offensive lineman in the first round? You know what I mean? So it's the first time I've looked at it. Huh?
The kid from Arizona. But go ahead. Go on.
Well, the one who's got like 5 vowels in his name and it's really hard to pronounce.
Lusa.
Yeah, right. Exactly right.
I don't know. Tui Absolusa Papalusa or something like that.
Well, you're right. Yeah, it's in Green Bay. It's 17 days, man.
Yeah, it's Shep. It's funny. I still like to dabble. One thing I do, like when I'm doing prep at night, I always do a couple of the mock draft simulators to see what comes out and everything. And I think everybody knows their needs. You need an edge guy. You definitely need an interior lineman. I think not so much for this year, but you have to start thinking some of those pieces up front, Shep, are going to be moving on sooner rather than later. And I think this has been a forward-thinking front office, and that's part of the reason why they're in the position that they are right now. So, I'm at the point with this team right now, Shep. It's not very often you can say this, but you have to look at Brad Holmes right now and sit there and say to yourself, okay, Brad, I'm with you. You've traded up and people have lost their mind, and that worked out very well and things like that. That's the one thing you have to remember with Brad Holmes. And in years gone by, Shep, you'd say things like, everybody talks about trades, but how often do trades happen?
Yeah.
Brad Holmes does move. That's one thing that you have to count.
Yeah. So, I think with. I don't worry about who he's going to take, to be honest with you. I mean, in Brad Holmes, we trust. That's kind of how I feel about him.
Right.
I think he's going to take the best available player. I don't know if that's Greg Zabel. Okay. I really don't. The offensive lineman out of North Dakota State. Or I don't know if Mike Green slipped, the defensive end from Marshall, which I doubt he would. All I know is that he's not going to draft based on need. He's going to draft based on who he has on his board. And if somebody's there for him, he's going to grab them. And I think around where Detroit is going to pick is where you're going to be able to get both. You're going to get the player you have high on your board and the need that you're going to have too. And I think that's what they're going to do. And I'm pretty excited about it. It may not be a huge school, may not be a huge name, because not many people, as you know, Sean, really follow linemen. We are so enamored with QBs, wide receivers, running backs, to a certain extent, cornerbacks. But you start getting those nasty guys inside, the ones who spit blood in the huddle. Those are my kind of guys.
And Shep, you're absolutely right. I think everybody and their brother is looking at the edge position. It might be an interior lineman, guys. I mean, unless you have a scenario where, like you said, Mike Green slides, I don't think he will. No. James Pierce, the guy from Tennessee, I think that's more, or the kid from BC. I know our mutual friend Scott Bischoff loves him. Donovan Uikabuka. I don't know what his name is. Again, when you throw all those vowels in there, man, that's when I throw up my hands. I'm sorry. I'll wait until the pronunciation comes out. All right. But Shep, don't be surprised at all if they don't grab an interior lineman, and it's going to blow my mind because I think people. What if Tyler Booker's there? Right? He might be the top IOL on the board. Would people lose their mind? I don't know. Jason, when's the mock draft show? I'm never doing that again. That was a disaster. And so, no, that's never going to happen again.
What are you talking about?
We had a mock draft show last year. Bischoff and I did a show where we had people come in and make picks, and it was just a bleep show. Shep, I got no other way to say that. It really was. It just, people were going way off the board and things like that. And the one thing, when you talk about off the board, we always have to remember, guys, quarterbacks are going to be picked. That's the way it is. And there's going to be a quarterback going in the first round that nobody had projected going in the first round. It happens every year. You set your
Jackson Dart is the guy, probably.
Jackson Dart from Ole Miss. I think you're right. I do. Hey, listen, All About Catering LLC, full service caterer, graduations, weddings, bridal showers, corporate events, anything you need catering for, from 25 to 4,000 people. All About Catering can and will take care of you. For Rick and his great staff, customer service and satisfaction is their number one goal. So don't sweat your next big event. Just go to allaboutcateringllc.com today to see all their menus and all their 5-star reviews. Give them a call, 586-731-1398 to get your event started. Shep, any idea why they decided to start the national championship game so late on a Monday night?
I don't, but it doesn't surprise me. The big thing on social media, as you know, yesterday was why wasn't the women's game on prime time? Why was it during the afternoon up against, what was it? Not the Volvic, the Valero Texas Open. Why was it up against that? Why was it up against baseball games and stuff like that? You can't win. No. Look, you and I ask this all the time. Why are World Series games so late?
Yep.
Why are NBA Finals games so late? Why is the Super Bowl so late? For obvious reasons. Prime time, you're getting all kinds of money, and that's what they're looking for.
Are you into? I don't know if you and I have ever had this Super Bowl Saturday, yay or nay?
I would say nay, and I think because you get so much coverage on Monday for it.
Oh, I guess that's. See, you're thinking smart. Gosh, damn it! Don't do that. I'm thinking with pure emotion, and you go and inject logic into an emotional conversation.
I don't know if it's logical, but let's face it. Sunday's not a huge media day, right?
Yeah.
And you can get lost in other media events that are taking place.
You're 1,000% right.
And Monday, you own it all day. News and sports. So that would be my guess.
Anything you got to pimp before we get out of here? Make sure you listen to his show every day, right? We'll get that out there. You got anything else going on?
I don't.
All right.
How about you?
Heck no. All right, listen, God bless you guys.
Right, thanks, buddy. It's good to see you. Thanks, Todd.
Thank you, guys. Todd, bye. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Enjoy. Yep.
Shep and Sean, featuring Matt Shepard and Sean Baligian. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Still Alive by Anti-Ghost. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the Unsyndicated Podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Call the Unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.
So I'm